The transport ship hummed softly as it glided through the darkness of space. Inside, Ethan Cross sat rigid in his seat, staring out the viewport at the glowing planet below. He was the only human on board, surrounded by soldiers of the Zetherian Empire, tall, lithe, and covered in silver-patterned armor. Every one of them radiated confidence and precision. Ethan felt small, even out of place, but he reminded himself why he was here. Earth had sent him for a reason, and he would not fail. The planet's surface was a dazzling mix of light and structure. Towering spires reached high into the clouds, connected by shimmering bridges and glowing energy veins. A soft hum of life and technology seemed to pulse from the city itself. Ethan had never seen anything like it. Even after all his simulations and training, the reality of this alien world took his breath away. A chime sounded, signaling the ship's docking. The hatch opened and a figure stepped into the light. Ethan froze. She was tall but not intimidating. Her skin shimmered like silver in the ship's glow, and her eyes glowed a soft, calm light that seemed to see straight into him. Princess Zyra. He had seen images, reports, even holograms of her, but nothing prepared him for her presence. "I am Princess Zyra," she said, her voice melodic but firm, echoing slightly in the transport bay. "And you, human, will be my personal guard." Ethan blinked. "Me? Why me?" His voice sounded small, even to himself. She stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. "Because I selected you long before they sent you." The words hit him harder than a blast from a plasma rifle. Every elite soldier sent by her council, dozens, maybe hundreds, would have been qualified. Yet she had chosen him, a human from a distant, primitive world. Pride and confusion collided inside him. I don't understand," he stammered. "You will," she said softly, a faint smile curving her lips. "You are here because I saw something in you, something they could not train, something only a human can have." Ethan's heart thudded in his chest. Something only a human could have. Courage, instinct, loyalty. He didn't know, but her confidence in him sparked something deep inside, a mixture of fear and determination. As they walked through the palace corridors, Ethan noticed the details. The walls seemed alive, shifting in subtle patterns of light. The air was soft but carried a faint vibration of power. He realized this world was far beyond anything humanity had imagined. But more than that, he realized he was no longer just a soldier. He had a purpose that went beyond duty. Zyra paused at a balcony overlooking the city. The sun, or whatever star lit this world, cast long shadows across the spires. "There is danger approaching," she said, almost whispering, but with a weight that made Ethan straighten instinctively. "Not all of the Empire is loyal to me." Ethan instinctively placed a hand near his sidearm. "Then I will protect you," he said, voice steady despite the sudden chill of unease. Her gaze softened, and for the first time she seemed almost human. "Do you know what it means to protect someone with everything you are?" Ethan swallowed hard. He had protected lives before, on battlefields thousands of kilometers from home. But this was different. This was someone chosen, not by rank, not by duty, but by her own will. He nodded. "I will do whatever it takes." Zyra studied him for a moment, her eyes glowing brighter as if assessing the truth in his words. "I believe you," she said, "and that is why you are here. Long before your council, long before any of them knew your name, I knew you were the one." For the first time, Ethan understood the enormity of the situation. He was not merely a guard. He was someone chosen for a reason beyond logic, beyond protocol. And as the sun glinted off the distant spires, he felt the first spark of something more, something powerful, something terrifying, and something entirely human. Hope. The journey had just begun. Days passed, and Ethan settled into his new role as Princess Zyra's guard. Each morning he walked the palace corridors, learning the layout, memorizing every twist and turn, every hidden door, every shadowed alcove. The palace was beautiful, alive with glowing energy, shimmering walls, and silent mechanical sentries. But beneath its elegance, Ethan sensed something uneasy. Whispers in the hallways, glances exchanged between soldiers, and subtle shifts in the guards' formations told him that not everyone welcomed a human standing beside their princess. One evening, Zyra asked him to escort her to the palace garden. The air was cool, fragrant with alien flowers that glowed softly in the moonlight. Ethan kept his hand near his weapon, scanning the area. Something didn't feel right. He had learned to trust his instincts, and tonight they screamed danger. "They're here," he whispered. "Someone's moving in the shadows." Zyra's eyes, calm but alert, searched the garden. "I knew this risk existed," she said softly. "That is why I chose you." Ethan froze. You knew?" Her gaze met his, unflinching. "Yes. Long before your council sent you, long before you stepped foot on my planet, I saw your courage. I knew you would protect me even when the odds were against you." Before he could reply, movement flickered near the fountain. Figures, cloaked in dark armor, crept forward, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. Ethan pushed Zyra behind a marble column and drew his sidearm. His training kicked in automatically. Target, assess, strike. The attackers rushed forward, but Ethan's human instincts gave him an edge. He dodged, rolled, and fired with precision, disarming one attacker and knocking another off balance. Alien guards would have followed protocol, but Ethan moved unpredictably, striking from angles no machine or simulation could anticipate. Zyra, though unarmed, didn't hide. She guided him with sharp commands. "Left. They're weaker there. Push them toward the corridor." Her voice was calm, clear, and full of authority. Every word gave him focus. Every instruction sharpened his movements. Together they moved as one, not princess and guard, but partners in battle. Ethan marveled at her courage. Even in the face of danger, she never faltered. The alien soldiers fell back, surprised by their coordination, by the bond between them. After the fight, the cloaked figures vanished into the night. Ethan's chest heaved, his uniform torn and scuffed, but his eyes were fixed on Zyra. You knew this would happen, and yet, you trusted me." She nodded, brushing a strand of glowing hair from her face. "I trusted the human heart. I trusted your instincts, your courage, and your choice to stand by me." Ethan felt warmth spread through him. Humans had always been considered weak, fragile, unpredictable by advanced alien civilizations, but here, in this moment, he understood why she had chosen him. Humanity was not just strength or skill. It was courage, hope, and the will to act when it mattered most. The night was quiet once more, but Ethan could feel the tension lingering. The palace was beautiful, yes, but danger lurked everywhere. And yet he also felt a growing bond with Zyra, something that went beyond duty. Every glance, every word, every shared fight forged a connection that was impossible to ignore. Zyra stepped closer, her hand brushing lightly against his arm. "Ethan, there will be more nights like this, I can feel it. And each time you will stand with me. Not because the council sent you, but because you choose to." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of her trust settle in his chest. "I will. Always." She smiled, faint but full of meaning. "Good. That is why I selected you. Long before anyone else, long before your arrival, I knew you would be the one to stand by me, no matter what." And in the quiet glow of the palace garden, Ethan understood something profound. The galaxy could underestimate humans all it wanted, but when a human chooses to fight, when a human chooses to protect, there is nothing more dangerous, nothing more powerful. For the first time since his arrival, he felt that he belonged, not just on this planet, not just beside a princess, but in a story that was bigger than himself. The days that followed were quieter, but the tension never fully left the palace. Ethan moved through the corridors with a careful rhythm, always alert, always watching. The more time he spent beside Princess Zyra, the more he understood the depth of her responsibility. She was not just a royal figure. She was the lifeline of an empire teetering on the edge of rebellion. One afternoon, Zira asked him to accompany her to the palace observatory. The room was vast and circular, with a transparent dome that showed the entire city below. The sun, or whatever bright star lit this alien world, cast long streaks of light across the glass. Ethan had never felt such silence, such awe and such unease all at once. "I often wonder," Zira said softly, standing at the edge and gazing at the city, "if someone like you, from a distant planet, could ever truly understand my world, my burdens." Ethan stayed a step behind her, feeling the weight of the words. "I don't know if I can fully understand," he admitted honestly, "but I do know this. I will protect you, whatever it takes." Zira's gaze softened, and for a moment her armor of authority slipped. "That is more than enough," she whispered. "Humans, they have a courage that even the oldest warriors of my empire cannot match." Ethan felt his chest swell. All his life, humans had been underestimated, seen as fragile, weak, or reckless. But here, in the eyes of a princess of a mighty alien empire, he realized that human courage was visible, undeniable, and valuable. The observatory became their quiet sanctuary. Ethan would sit beside her, sometimes in silence, sometimes talking about Earth, the green forests, the oceans, the skies. Zira listened with fascination, her luminous eyes reflecting curiosity and wonder. In return, she told him stories of her childhood, of battles fought and decisions made that shaped the fate of her people. Over time, Ethan began to notice the subtle signs of trust. Zira would step closer in dangerous situations, her hand lightly brushing his arm. She would share sensitive information about her strategies and fears. Every glance, every word, every gesture made it clear. She trusted him in a way no alien counselor ever could. One evening, as they studied the star charts, Zira looked at Ethan and said, "I have lived many years, and I have seen many warriors, but none of them inspired the confidence that I see in you. You are human, yet you are fearless. You act when others hesitate. That is why I selected you." Ethan felt a mix of pride and humility. "I don't know if I'm worthy of that trust," he admitted. "I'm just doing what I can." "Doing what you can is exactly why you are worthy," she replied. Her voice was soft, yet every word carried weight. "Humans have something unique, something unpredictable, something alive. You make choices in the moment that even the most advanced beings cannot predict. That is power. That is courage. That is why you stand by me." For the first time, Ethan realized that her words were not just praise. They were a recognition of humanity itself. He had trained, fought, and risked his life countless times, but this acknowledgement, this faith, was unlike anything he had ever experienced. As the star-filled sky stretched above them, Ethan felt an emotion he could not name. It was more than loyalty, more than duty. It was connection, respect, and perhaps something deeper. The princess had chosen him not only for his skill, but for the human heart beating within him. The heart capable of courage, love, and hope. In that moment, he made a silent vow. No matter the danger, no matter the enemy, no matter the odds, he would stand by her, always. And Princess Zira, gazing at the same stars, knew she had made the right choice long before he arrived. The palace had never felt so tense. Every corridor seemed longer, every shadow deeper, and every whisper louder than before. Ethan moved silently, his human instincts alert to the smallest change in the air. He had learned to trust his senses, instincts honed on Earth battlefields, and now in the alien empire, they warned him that danger was closer than ever. The council was restless. Not all of them welcomed a human standing beside their princess. Many of the oldest senators saw Ethan as an outsider, unfit to guard the future of their empire. Rumors swirled through the grand halls, whispers of betrayal, plans to replace him with a Zetherian warrior, even plots to kidnap Zira for leverage against the crown. One morning, during a council session, Ethan observed the tension firsthand. Senators exchanged subtle gestures, leaning close to whisper in ears, eyes darting toward Zira and himself. Then, one of the oldest counselors stepped forward. "Your Highness," he said, voice calm but edged with steel. Our security must be handled by those of your own people. A human cannot possibly understand the needs of our empire." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Zyra. Ethan felt his jaw tighten. He had known this day would come, but hearing it aloud made the threat real. Zyra's voice cut through the tension, firm and unyielding. "I have made my choice," she said, looking directly at the counselor. "It is final. I trust my guard and his loyalty is unquestionable." A ripple of murmurs moved through the council, some shocked, some scornful. Ethan felt the weight of her words settle over him like armor. He had expected opposition, but he had not expected the challenge to be so direct, so public. After the meeting, Ethan walked through the palace halls, his senses alert to every shadow. It was then that he realized someone was following him. Subtle movements, footsteps carefully timed to match his own. He paused, hand near his weapon, and turned. Zyra emerged from a nearby corridor, her face pale but determined. "Ethan, you must understand," she whispered. "The council will try again. They will test you, question your loyalty, even try to remove you from my side. I cannot face this without you." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. "Then we face it together," he said, voice steady. "Whatever they throw at us, we fight side by side." Her eyes softened, glowing faintly in the dim corridor. "You do not understand," she said, almost to herself. "Long before they sent you, I knew you would be here. I saw your courage, your strength, your heart. That is why I chose you. And now, more than ever, that choice matters." Ethan nodded, swallowing hard. He had fought countless battles, faced enemies across planets, but nothing had prepared him for this. An enemy within, an empire that questioned not only his skill but his very presence. Yet, despite the fear, despite the uncertainty, he felt a surge of determination. He realized that the Council's distrust was not a reflection of his weakness. It was a reflection of humanity's underestimated power. Humans were unpredictable, courageous, and fiercely loyal, and that loyalty, that human heart, would not bend to fear or politics. That night, as they stood on the palace balcony watching the city lights flicker, Zyra placed a hand on his arm. "I need you to promise me," she said, voice low and serious, "that no matter what happens, you will remain by my side. Not because of duty, but because you choose to." Ethan looked at her, the city and the stars above. His chest tightened with a mix of fear, pride, and resolve. "I promise," he said simply. "I will choose to stay, always." In that moment, the bond between them solidified. The palace, the council, the whispers of betrayal, they would all come and go. But their trust, their connection, and the courage of one human would shine brighter than any obstacle. And Princess Zyra knew, without a doubt, that the human she had chosen long before anyone else arrived would be the shield that defended not just her life, but the future of the empire itself. The first rays of the twin suns barely lit the palace when the alarms blared. Ethan was already awake, senses sharp, heart pounding. He had felt it coming, the whispers, the council's unease, the shadows in the corridors. Now the threat had arrived. Explosions shook the palace walls, sending tremors through the floors. Alien guards shouted orders, running through corridors to face the attackers. Ethan moved quickly, reaching Princess Zyra's side. She stood tall despite the chaos, her eyes scanning the horizon, her hands already gesturing instructions to the palace defenders. "They're here," Ethan said, his voice low but tense. "And they're serious." Zyra's lips pressed into a thin line. "I know. Stay close, Ethan. We will make it through, together." The attackers poured into the palace courtyard, soldiers clad in dark armor, weapons glowing with deadly energy. They moved with precision, but not with the unpredictability that a human could offer. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the surge of adrenaline and clarity only battle could bring. He moved first, drawing his weapon with fluid precision. He ducked, rolled, and struck with instincts honed on Earth, dodging energy blasts and countering attacks. Alien guards fought alongside him, but it was Ethan's unpredictable movements and quick thinking that kept Zyra safe. Zyra didn't remain passive. She directed troops, her voice ringing with authority. "This wing now. Protect the civilians." Every command she gave was calculated, every movement precise, yet she never hesitated to stay near Ethan, her trust in him absolute. They moved through the palace like a well-oiled team. Ethan noticed the small things, The way she anticipated the enemy's positions, the way she adapted quickly to changes, the way her presence made him faster, sharper, more aware. She wasn't just a princess, she was a leader, a warrior, and now a partner in survival. Hours passed in a blur of chaos and strategy. The palace shook, fires burned, and smoke filled the corridors. Ethan's uniform was scorched in places. Bruises marked his arms, and blood ran from a shallow cut across his forehead. Yet he kept moving, every thought focused on Zira. At one point, a group of attackers cornered them in a narrow hallway. Ethan positioned himself in front of Zira, blocking the path. "Go! I'll hold them," he shouted. Zira hesitated, her glowing eyes wide with concern. "No, we face this together." Ethan shook his head, heart racing. "I chose to protect you. That means I face them first, but I will never leave your side completely." With a nod, Zira moved beside him, guiding him with quick, clear commands. Together they turned a corner and struck back at the attackers. Their combination of human ingenuity and alien strategy created a rhythm that the attackers could not predict. By nightfall, the main force had been repelled. The palace lay scarred, walls cracked and smoke rising from several towers, but the princess and her human guard stood together, unbroken. Ethan leaned against a crumbling wall, breathing heavily. Zira placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch light but steady. You saved us," she said softly, eyes full of gratitude. "And not just me, everyone here. Your people would be proud." Ethan shook his head, a tired smile forming on his lips. "It's not just skill or luck. It's choice. We choose to fight. We choose to protect. That's what makes the difference." Zira looked at him, her expression unreadable but her eyes glowing with warmth. "And that is why I selected you. Long before the council, long before your people even sent you here, I knew you would stand beside me. I knew you would fight. Not because you had to, but because you chose to." For the first time, Ethan understood the weight of her words. Humans were underestimated, seen as fragile and weak by advanced civilizations. But in moments like this, a human's courage, heart, and choice could turn the tide of an entire battle. The twin suns rose higher, casting light over the damaged palace. Ethan and Zira stood together amidst the ruins, exhausted but unbroken. Their bond had been tested, their courage proven, and their connection strengthened. In the heart of the chaos, one truth remained clear. No matter the enemy, no matter the odds, humanity, through one determined human, had shown its true strength. By nightfall, the palace was a battered skeleton of its former glory. Smoke rose from broken towers. Sparks flickered along shattered walkways, and the once glowing corridors were dimmed by the scars of battle. Yet in the midst of ruin, Ethan Cross and Princess Zira stood side by side, unbroken, hearts still steady, spirits refusing to bend. Ethan surveyed the destruction. He could see where the attackers had pushed deep into the palace, the scorched marks of energy blasts and the debris scattered across hallways. Every step reminded him of the danger they had faced together. And yet, for all the destruction, he felt an unfamiliar warmth, pride not only in survival, but in the strength that humans could show even in alien worlds. Zira approached him, her silver skin smudged with ash, yet her eyes glowed with determination. "Your people, they have a strength that even I did not fully understand," she said softly. "I watched you fight, Ethan. I watched you protect not just me, but everyone here. And it was extraordinary." Ethan shook his head, wiping a streak of blood from his forehead. "It's not just strength. It's choice. We choose to fight, to protect, to endure, even when everything seems impossible." Zira smiled faintly, a mixture of admiration and something deeper in her gaze. "And that is why I selected you, human. Long before anyone sent you, long before the council even considered you, I knew you would be the one who could stand in the storm, and not just survive, but lead." Ethan's chest tightened. For the first time, he realized the depth of her words. She had not just chosen a skilled guard. She had chosen a human, with a heart capable of courage beyond any calculation, beyond any simulation, beyond the rules of an empire. Humans were underestimated, seen as fragile or limited, but their choices, their determination, their empathy, and their bravery were unmatched. He glanced at the ruins around them, thinking of the countless alien soldiers who had followed protocols and instructions yet faltered. Unable to adapt, humans could improvise, adapt, and act in moments of chaos. That unpredictability, that courage, had saved the palace and the princess. Zira reached for his hand, her touch light but grounding. You are more than a guard, Ethan. You are a symbol of something greater. Humanity's courage, its heart, it shines in the darkest moments. And tonight you proved it. Ethan swallowed hard, feeling a surge of emotion he could barely name. Pride, yes. Gratitude, yes. But also a deep connection, one that transcended duty or mission. He had come here as a soldier, trained and disciplined. But he stayed because he chose to, because he believed in her, and because he understood what it meant to protect not just life, but hope. The two of them stood together on a balcony overlooking the city, now quiet, bathed in the soft light of the twin moons. Fires still burned in the distance, but the immediate threat had passed. Ethan looked at Zira and realized something profound. Humans were often dismissed, underestimated and doubted, but in moments of truth, their courage could change the course of history. Zira's voice broke through his thoughts. I knew from the moment I saw you that you would stand with me. And now I know the truth of it. You are human, but you are extraordinary. You choose even when others hesitate. You fight even when fear whispers in your ear. That is why I chose you. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. No words could fully express what he felt. Instead, he nodded, letting his presence speak for him. They had faced death together, seen the worst of rebellion and betrayal, and survived. Not because of technology, not because of strategy, but because of the human heart, its courage, and its will to protect those they love. For a long moment, they stood silently, the wind brushing through their hair, the ruined palace beneath them and the stars above. And in that silence, Ethan understood something vital. Humans were not just fighters, not just soldiers, they were a force of hope, choice and resilience, and Princess Zira knew, without a doubt, that she had chosen wisely. Humanity had proven itself in the heart of an alien empire, and the bond between them had never been stronger. The first light of the twin suns spilled across the shattered palace, casting long shadows over ruined towers and scorched courtyards. The rebellion had been defeated, but the scars remained, not just in stone and metal, but in hearts and memories. Yet in the midst of ruin, Ethan Cross and Princess Zira stood together, unbroken, their bond stronger than ever. Ethan surveyed the city below. Fires still burned in pockets, but the citizens had survived. Cytherian guards patrolled the streets, weary but alive. He felt a quiet pride, not in himself, but in what humanity could achieve. Courage, resilience, and the will to act when others hesitated. For all the galaxy's advanced civilizations, it was humans who could surprise even the oldest and wisest minds. Zira stepped beside him, her silver skin brushed with ash and streaks of soot, yet her eyes shone with unwavering resolve. The Empire will rebuild, she said softly, but it will never forget what happened here. And it will never forget you, Ethan. You showed them what humans are truly capable of. Ethan shook his head, feeling the weight of her words. I didn't do it for recognition, he said quietly. I did it because I chose to. Because I knew you mattered, and protecting you, protecting everyone here, was the right thing to do. Zira reached for his hand, her touch steady and grounding. And that is why I selected you, she whispered, echoing the words she had spoken when he first arrived. Long before the council, long before anyone sent you, I knew you would be the one to stand in the storm. You were human, yet you carried the courage of 1,000 warriors. That is what made you extraordinary. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had traveled across the stars, faced enemies he could not have imagined, and survived countless battles. Yet this, her trust, her recognition of his humanity, was more meaningful than any medal, any victory, or any honor. Humans were underestimated, dismissed as fragile or weak, but in this moment their true strength was undeniable. Courage, choice, and heart could change the course of empires. They stood together in silence, overlooking the city. The fires were fading, replaced by the gentle light of dawn. The empire was battered but alive, just as they were. Ethan realized that the bond they shared was not just duty or obligation. It was respect, trust, and something deeper. Something that could endure beyond politics, rebellion, or fear. Zira spoke again, her voice soft but resolute. The council will try to question you, doubt you, maybe even oppose you. But know this, Ethan, I will always stand with you. You are human, yes, but you are also the hope of my empire. And hope is stronger than any weapon, faster than any army, and brighter than any star. Ethan felt the weight of her words settle in his chest. Hope. That was what humans could offer. beyond technology, beyond strategy, beyond experience. The choice to act, to protect, and to endure, this was humanity's true gift. And in the heart of the Zetherian Empire, he had shown it to be real. The twin suns rose higher, bathing the city in golden light. Citizens began to emerge from the ruins, cautious but determined to rebuild. Guards marched with renewed purpose, inspired not by fear, but by the courage they had witnessed in one human beside their princess. Ethan looked at Zira, and she smiled at him, a mixture of gratitude, admiration, and quiet pride. "You are not just my guard," she said. "You are the proof that even the smallest and most underestimated beings can shape the fate of the universe." Ethan's lips curved into a small smile. "Then let's make sure the Empire knows it. Not just my courage, but humanity's." Together they turned toward the palace gates, ready to face the future, united, unbroken, and unstoppable. In that moment, the galaxy seemed to pause. One human had stood beside a princess and proven that humanity's heart, courage, and choice could shine brighter than any empire and stronger than any weapon. The sun climbed higher, and a new day dawned. The ruins of the palace were not a symbol of defeat. They were the beginning of something greater. And in the eyes of one human guard, the universe saw the undeniable truth. Humans were extraordinary, not because of power or technology, but because of heart, courage, and the will to stand for what mattered most. And Princess Zyra knew, without a doubt, that she had chosen wisely.